Oh, I am so excited to have the fabulous, fabulous Debbie Gilbert, founder of the Best Business Women Awards, with me today on the Business Spotlight. I'm so excited. So, for those of you who watch the Business Spotlight, you'll know what it's all about. It's all about inspiring you to keep going, okay? Keep getting out there, keep getting visible. So, if anybody of you right now is like sitting in one of those like cubicles going, oh, I don't know, can I keep going? Debbie is going to inspire you to keep at it. She is phenomenal, and I cannot wait to talk to her as I put her business under the spotlight. Thank you for joining me, Debbie.
Thank you for asking me, Elaine. We've known each other a couple of years now, haven't we? Met each other at networking online. So
Yeah, we
never met
sure
in
did.
person.
Someday
Oh,
I'll come knocking on your door and go, oh, let's have a cup of tea, shall we?
oh.
Oh, anyway, I can't wait to talk to you today and just, I know you've got such an inspiring story. I know you champion businesswomen, and I just really want to shine a light on that. So for people who don't know you, we know each other, but for people who don't know you, tell me, so tell them, what do you do?
Well, day to day, I run a marketing and events agency, and the biggest event we do every year is the Best Business Women Awards. And I started that 11 years ago to shine a light on female entrepreneurs because at the time, was really very few award programs out there for female entrepreneurs, and especially female entrepreneurs running a smaller business or working for themselves. So I started that 11 years ago. Can't actually quite believe that myself when I say those words 11 years ago. But my actual business started 27 years ago. Um, as a result, really, of leaving the corporate world, I worked in the travel industry. And the travel industry in the business travel sector at the time, there was no part-time work. What on earth was part-time work? Because I'd had a child and decided to give up my job and relocate back up to Hertfordshire, which was where my parents lived. I was living in London. I'd become a single mum whilst I was pregnant, which not ideal. Um, and came back up to Hertfordshire to sort of decide what I was going to do. And then suddenly, my dad, whose birthday it would have been today, actually, got diagnosed with a rare form of dementia. And my mum, about 2 months later, got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. So double whammy. Still had my grandparents still alive as well at the time, and they were in their mid 90s. So there was me with my little boy, who was 2.5 at the time, and thinking that I was going to get support to enable me to work and do whatever it was I wanted to do. But actually, the tables turned. And back in 1998, Elaine, LinkedIn was not in existence. Facebook, nobody had coined that phrase. And there was no such thing as social media. So I kind of turned my talents to supporting my friend's husband with his plumbing business and doing his marketing. And that was really how my business was spawned out of needing to work flexibly around these caring duties that I had whilst earning an income, and went to a networking group at 6 o'clock in the morning called BNI and met other tradesmen who were struggling with their marketing. And in those days, the marketing was yellow pages adverts, writing copy for leaflets, it was dealing with the local newspaper, it was looking at various ways that they could advertise their business. And most of it, now doesn't exist. So the whole thing's, switched around. So I grew my business from that. That's where it started.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Well, see, we have that caring responsibility thing in common. And I do think that it does, I think that many people need to hear that flexibility, of earning and income is possible, because so many carers are told, you're in the UK, I'm in the Republic of Ireland, we're told, oh, look, once you become a carer, it's all over, for your career, but that doesn't have to be true. So I'm just triply excited to talk to you and inspire people to understand, look, it doesn't have to be that way. There are ways to earn a living, to use your talents that you obviously like have an abundance, but had at the time. And sure, I know I started my career as a TV buyer, and there was no social media uh,
Really?
back then. So, um, that's such an inspiring story. So, fast forward to now,
Mm.
um, like, what type of client do you work with now, and how has that evolved?
Oh, it's massively evolved because obviously it's a much easier place in the world now to set up a business. It's far easier than it was 27 years ago. And so I guess my client base has evolved. I no longer work with trades businesses, interestingly. I tend to work with companies that have got normally between, I would say, 2 to 10 employees is our average um, size of business. They don't necessarily have the money to pay someone to do their marketing full time. And they don't necessarily need somebody doing their marketing full time, but they want someone advising them and helping them with all of the different marketing duties. So, our clients range from a firm of accountants to a theatre school to coaches to a company that works consulting other companies about dementia. So we have a really great broad base of people that we work with. So that's the day-to-day marketing business. And then I also own a networking company called Business Women Unlimited, which is 14 years old this month. And that again was set up purely because I identified a need at the time that there was no morning networking at a sensible time. It was either 6 a.m. or lunch networking. And we were the very first people to ever do a networking event at 9:30 in the morning. So I'm quite proud of that. So whenever I see anyone doing that, I think "Oh, idea started with me." So, I developed an idea around the concept of no membership networking, which at the time, again, was quite revolutionary. And most people said to me, that's not going to work because membership is the glue that sticks people together. And I said, well, let's just try it and see what happens. And here we are 14 years later. And we work with an average of 1,000 women a year that come through our groups. So the third thing is the awards. And the awards, I work with women who are in the startup phase. They might have set their business up in the last 6 months to a year through to women who have had a lifetime in business. So massive variety of people come through the awards, and we have tried to cater somewhere for everybody within the categories that we offer, because I think recognition is so important. So there is a kind of mixed client bag is what I'm saying. And when people come to me and want advice about their business with their marketing, if I can't help them, because it might be quite, say, specialized, food marketing is not something that I do. I know someone who specializes in food marketing, so I would pass them on to that. So that's, yeah, bit of a mixed
Brilliant.
bag.
Yeah, well, look, and at the same time, there is a golden thread
Mm.
going through your business, So, um, fabulous. I love the 9:30. Like that really speaks to me because the idea I have attended early morning meetings, but the tax upon me to
Too
do
much.
so. Again, back to that caring. My daughter has sleep apnea. Like we're always up in the middle of the night. So to get up for like one of those 6 a.m. meetings or the 7 a.m. meetings, it's really challenging. So I love meetings that start like, around the 10 o'clock. It's like, okay, great, so fantastic. You've really centered your business around need, so it is phenomenal. I really just I admire that so much. Um, Tell me what part of your business do you enjoy the most? So,
It's a really hard question. Somebody asked me this not that long ago, and I thought, oh, Gosh, this is really hard because I do quite a few different things really within the business. But if I had to boil it down, if somebody said, like you've just asked me, what is the one thing? I mean, who could not love seeing surprise and delight on people's faces when they are called out as a winner of the Best Businesswomen Awards? And the biggest moment for me is always the end of the night when we get all of the winners on stage. So in our awards, everybody wins an award. You either get a silver or a gold, and we get them all up. And we normally play like a really empowering song. I think last year we had We Are the Champions by Queen. And everyone's swaying and they're all standing on stage and they're all smiling and everybody's happy. And I always stand there and go, I created this. It's amazing. So, what can be better than that? Celebrating success.
Yeah. And like I love that because you know, like I'm all about visibility and I just think that um it just we don't celebrate ourselves enough, and
No.
there's so much tied up in imposter syndrome to get from like running your business to actually going, like I'd say there's quite a big moment where someone goes, oh, will I write this award? To actually putting it down on paper. It's such an amazing exercise to do because it really helps you to think about your business and where it's going and what you've achieved. Um, like tell me about like what do people say? What do they love about like the award side of the business?
I think most years people will say to me, "Oh, it took me a lot of guts and courage to do it. I procrastinated." We know people procrastinate because over 50% of our entries come in the last day before we close. And I think we had something like 110 entries in the last hour last year, which is a huge number of people leaving it to press the button. I think women, in the main, are known for worrying about perfectionism and having to have everything right. And actually, if you're going to be in business, you need to shake that off because you're never ever going to be in a situation where everything is 100% perfect. And that was one of the things I had to shake off many years ago. I have a bit of a saying in our team, which is better done than perfect. So, as long as you've got things fairly right and you're not got glaring spelling mistakes and things, just get the entry in, make a start on it. And I think what people glean from it is what you alluded to earlier was a real review of your business and where you've been, what you've been doing, and how you've built this customer base, because customer bases do not build themselves. They don't. You have to be actively marketing your business, but also looking after the clients because we can all build an audience, but then we have to get them to buy from us. And then we have to look after them so that they might buy again. Or it might be that you've just got a one purchase business that they recommend other people to work with you or buy your products. So, we know in the awards industry that people have to work really hard to get all those components and put them together. And so when you're doing your reward entry, you review all of that and you also think about what have you been doing outside of your business? Are you giving back to your industry, your local community? What else are you doing apart from running your business? Because that's quite important these days, CSR, which is the big corporate word for it, corporate social responsibility. But actually, a one-man band should be doing that. So when you can pull all this information together, then you need to kind of get that entry sent in and almost shake off the imposter syndrome that you talked about, because there is no annual appraisal when you work for yourself. No one is calling you into their office and going, hello, you've done pretty well on these LinkedIn courses that you're running. Done. Oh, hey, Elaine, Mr. Jones said that that was really good. That isn't going to happen. Okay, so I sort of say to people, think of awards as like a way of getting an appraisal on your business. Um, Most people know that I am really anti-voting with awards because then that becomes a popularity contest. So if you're applying for an award that's properly judged by a judging panel, then you are getting a sense of validation as to where you are with your business. And you are getting somebody else going, actually, this person and this business is worthy of recognition. And I think that's what the award finalists and winners always say to me afterwards. The common thing is always, I never thought I would win. Um, or I was shocked when I got shortlisted, so I'm glad I did it because I wasn't expecting to get shortlisted. And the other common saying that I hear people say a lot is, oh, I looked at all the other women I was up against, and I just felt I'm not going to do very well because I'm up against. And I think we need to get rid of this up against nonsense and say, as a female award, we are a collective of successful women. We're not up against each other. And I've tried to create an atmosphere in my awards of collaboration over competition, and that this is a celebration of everybody. So I think they're the common things. I think imposter syndrome is a big thing. And I think pretty much everybody has a bit of imposter syndrome somewhere, even if you've been in business a long time, still
Oh,
lurking
yeah.
back of your brain.
100%. Well, because you're always growing, you're always doing something new. Um, but I was reading a book there recently and they said competition is the killer of joy or something like that. And I
Yeah,
was like, yes, it is. You must, if you need to benchmark against yourself. Don't
yeah,
benchmark against other people. We're all different, and I always say if there isn't enough pie, to get your slice of pie, just bake more. Just
yeah.
bake
Make a
more
bigger pie.
pie.
Make a bigger pie.
Just
Yeah.
make a bigger pie. So I love that ethos. It is fabulous. And I feel it is that feminine energy,
Mm.
and I feel that so we've, particularly my vintage, starting, the workplace in the 90s and then becoming a TV bar in the noughties. Um, we kind of came through when it was a lot of masculine energy, and this is what success looks like. But thankfully, I think we're moving towards a different measurement of success and feeling like it's okay to have that collectiveness and that collaboration. And
Yeah,
it is a much more female energy to it. And I think everyone can benefit from that.
totally. And that's why I do my follow-up events. So I do have the award ceremony, but then I do a winners drinks event about 2 months later. And then we do one in the summer. And then we bring people back together. And the business that's been done over the years is incredible because you're meeting with a load of women who've also been through the awards program, been recognised. So that caliber is there, but also the collaboration mindset, because I make a big thing of saying, one of the things I say every year at the awards when I go up on stage and I have to do my little bit at the beginning, which I hate, but I do it, is leave your ego at the door, ladies. If you brought your ego with you, leave it over there. We don't want it in here. Because what we want is for you all to think about how you can all collaborate, work together, support each other. And we're here to celebrate everybody, not just the people who win the gold awards. It's a celebration of everyone. Because I've been to a few awards lately. Um, I won't name them actually, but I've been to 3 award ceremonies in the last few months, and none of them did anything to celebrate people who didn't win the category. Didn't even get a certificate. No, nothing. And to me, that's not really a true celebration, is it? Because I was good enough to be selected to be there, but I'm not good enough to get a certificate or a photo on the stage or any form of recognition at all. So I think that's quite sad, really.
Yeah, and it's very short-sighted because from a social media perspective and marketing perspective, capturing all of those people in the room.
Yep,
And getting all of that energy and leveraging the power of that joy and excitement is what they should be going for, like,
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
very
Little
short-sighted.
hint there, if any award organisers are listening. And I know people think, oh, I'm crazy because I give out awards to all the finalists. So you either become a silver winner or a gold winner. But actually, it's lovely for them because they feel like they've had true recognition, instead of walking home. I mean, one awards I went to gave me a certificate. This was about 2 years ago in a plastic popper wallet, one of those things that you put in your. I was a bit like, really? Like, what is that? Or a brown envelope. Brown envelopes do not belong at award ceremonies, can I say?
No,
We
where's
have
the
no brown
sparkle?
envelopes. We have gold envelopes at the
Yeah,
Best
I was
Business
gonna
Women Awards,
say,
but
where's
there are
the
no
sparkle?
brown envelopes. I mean, really, and it's just laziness on the award organisers' point, that part, sorry. It's they're just lazy and they're just doing it to make loads of money. Whereas I don't make loads of money, but I have a lot more joy of seeing people's smiley faces and people happy.
Yeah.
And I think I'd rather do it that way.
Yeah, exactly. And the opportunity is greater elsewhere,
Yeah,
like you've got a fabulous network that you can introduce
yeah,
all these businesses to. So
exactly.
yeah, it's about thinking it through.
Yes.
So okay, this is super. And I think that like the my whole thing is visibility
Mm,
and really inspiring women to step out and to
mm,
talk about themselves and to leverage their experiences because we don't do it enough.
yeah.
And it can really grow our visibility and our visibility once we are putting ourselves out there can grow our business. And who doesn't want that? So awards. I
Mm,
mean, so, okay, let's think about anyone who's watching us and going, well, I started my business last year, or, oh, I don't know that I have enough revenue gone through my business yet. What advice would you give a new business, even if it's not brand new and they've been running for a couple of years, but they think it's not good enough to enter an award? How can they get ready, or what kind of like reframe in their thinking would you
yeah.
advise, Debbie?
Well, reframing for sure, because most awards, whether they're local awards, county awards, national awards, will have a new business category. And there is also the Startup Business Awards exist. So there are awards out there for startup companies as well. So go and research those ones. Um, and then leave imposter syndrome at the door and look at, okay, with a new business, what they're going to be looking for is how has this business got traction? Okay. So obviously, if you've been running your business for 2 years and you've got one customer, that's a bit of a problem when you're entering awards. But most people don't have one customer after 2 years. So they award judges will know that there will be a considerable amount of startup costs that have to go into a business. So whether it's to buy equipment, to rent premises, to take on staff, whatever those costs might be. So that's all taken into account. And in most awards, they're not expecting to see a new business making a profit for 5 years. That's the benchmark, 5 years. Some businesses do go into profit straight away, a few months in. That's not uncommon, but most awards will not be benchmarking you just on your profit or loss. They will not, that will not be a deciding factor. What they'll be looking for is the innovation that you've brought to an industry. They'll be looking at, again, customer traction, customer retention, but also what are your growth plans? So it might be that you just want to remain a sole trader, and that's perfectly fine. Or it might be that you've got plans to grow it through franchising, through licensing, through developing new products, new ideas within your business. So you need to showcase that to the judges and share what your projections are and what your growth plans are. So I would say a business that's been trading for 6 weeks isn't ready to enter awards, but a business that's been trading for at least 6 months, a year is quite a good kind of benchmark, but 6 months to a year. If you've been trading for that amount of time, you should be doing these awards because what they do is they bring your business out onto the spotlight, the visibility that you've been talking about. And who doesn't want eyes on their business? Of course, we want eyes on our business, especially in the early days, because we want to show that we are making inroads in our industry and what we're doing out there is really special. So, awards are actually critical, I would say, for a new business. Critical now, because you also want to be the customer's choice. And therefore, when a customer is looking at various businesses and deciding, oh, who do I go with? They are more likely to go with a business that's won awards than a business that hasn't. And I've seen time and time again new businesses gaining customers from their competitors simply because they had the foresight to go and enter awards, get recognized, and get that valuable credibility, and have managed to get some of the market share from a competitor who hadn't bothered, didn't think it was important, and is not moving with the times. Because a lot of businesses that have been trading like 10, 20 years and still doing the same things are going to get left behind. Businesses that come in with new tech, new ideas, a fresh perspective on an industry. Because let's be honest, none of us really can create a business from scratch that no one else has thought of. Very difficult unless it's a specific widget that you've invented. Most of us are looking at the market going, okay, that exists in the market, but how can I deliver that better? What can I do to make that experience better for the client? How can I make it more cost effective? That's what people are almost reinventing. It's a bit like me with the going back to the networking 14 years ago. There was loads of lunchtime networking, there was lots of 6 a.m. networking. So I looked at it and said, well, hang on a minute. The people that have got children in nursery from up until half 11, 12 o'clock in the morning can't go to networking events. Women who've got children with special needs, women who've got caring responsibilities can't go to networking because it doesn't work 6 a.m. in the morning or lunchtime. So me going, okay, well, what can we do? And let's do a meeting at 9:30 kind of changed the whole networking landscape and coming up without a membership because, again, startup businesses were struggling to afford to pay for a networking membership on top of all the other things they had to pay out for. So I created something that there was a need for. So when it comes to awards, if your business is an innovator, it's so important because the PR you will get off the back of it will be immense as a new business because journalists are looking for those all important stories about emerging businesses within different industries. And so for them, for a journalist to work with a business who's won awards, you've already been validated. They don't need to do due diligence because if you've got a credible award, that's a tick box for them because they'll go, ah, right, okay, so AB Supplies has won that award and that's been verified by that judging panel. I'm going to run a story about their business and how they're innovating in their industry, and the award gets mentioned along the way. So the article becomes a piece about you and your business development rather than about the awards, but the awards is mentioned as a validated comment.
Yeah.
And I could sit here all day and talk about the new business category and the Best Business Women Awards and the women that have come through that and won things like contracts with Waitrose and Sainsbury's for their products because they had been validated by our awards as a best new business, and it makes a buying decision easier for a big supermarket if you've got a product you're trying to get in there. I'm not saying there's a lot of factors where that's concerned, but what I'm saying is it one woman a few years ago, Davina, who's got a baking business, she had tried to get into some main retailers, really struggled, entered our awards, got the validation of best new business, and then the doors opened for her. And she's interviewed on my podcast, so you can listen to that. It's not me making stuff up, it's very true. And she said, I think they suddenly started saying, oh, this is a business that's credible and let's work with them. And I think that's what a lot of people don't realize is the big benefit to it is you're going to get your name on the awards night in front of hundreds of people. You're going to be in the program. You're going to be across social media. You're going to get PR interest. You will get new customers from it.
Brilliant. I mean, I hope everyone is like, okay, how can I enter? But okay, so well, how can they enter? How do you promote your business? How do you get clients for your three business? Honestly, like so many different businesses.
I mean, if I'm going to give some general looking for awards here rather than my Best Businesswomen awards. I'm going to say look at a website called awards-list.co.uk. That pretty much lists all the awards globally. So you can then select the country, select your industries, and go have a look. I would also recommend you have a look on Google and see what awards are operating in your country or in your area. I would then look at the categories carefully and make sure that you can fit the criteria of the categories. And so new business will always have a start date so it might be some awards are 3 years, some are 5 years for new business, for example. So make sure you fit that category criteria and then get your entry done. The Best Businesswomen Awards opens every year in February, closes every year in June. Details are on our website. We are only open to people who live in the UK, United Kingdom. We have done international years some years, but we found it a bit problematic with getting the entries in English. So we may revisit it again next year. Now, AI is a bit more prolific and people can, translate their entries into English before they send them in. But I would say don't write your entries with AI as well. I just want to mention that because we're seeing an increase in that. And the judges can tell if it's been written by AI. Lots of hyphens and words that you probably wouldn't use in normal day everyday life. Write your award entry from your heart. That's what the judges want to see. I did a live this morning with my two of my judges, and one of them said, I want to read that passion. I want to understand that story. And I don't think AI can necessarily do that in the same way you can writing that. So I would do your research. I would look at what your competitors have won as well, and also have a look at your own industry and see what industry awards are out there because you've got location-based awards, you've got industry-based awards, and then you've got gender-based awards. So you've got mixed awards or women-only awards. And I know there's still a bit of a thing. People go, "Oh, why do you need women-only awards?" Well, until the playing field is leveled out, 100%. I would love to still be alive. It's probably doubtful, but I might be, who knows. I would like to be alive when the playing field is finally leveled off and women get the same support and the same investment in their business as the men do, and we don't. And once that's leveled off, then I will stop my female only business awards because they won't be needed anymore. Um, because that's why they're needed. They're needed because if you go to any mixed business awards, you will see on stage very few females get recognised. And that is a fact. I'm not making it up. It's a fact. It's a
Yeah.
bit better than it used to be.
Yeah.
But when I started my awards in 2015, I started them because I stood at the East of England Business Awards and I'd won an award. Lovely. That's great. And there were three women stood on the stage and 20 men.
Wow.
And when I looked at the photographs afterwards, I was a bit like, oh gosh, it's great that I've won an award, but where are all the women? What
Yeah.
is this?
Yeah.
And then started asking women, and a lot of them were like, oh, I don't really think there's any awards out there for me, and I'm just doing my thing, just my little business. I was like, you're amazing. They didn't feel it. So that's why I set up my own awards. Again, saw a need, set it up. Loads of people have set up female only business awards now. But just check the credibility, please, when you're entering anything. And if you get an email telling you you've been nominated anonymously, delete the email. It's a load of old nonsense.
Mhm.
There's award companies out there telling people they've been nominated. They haven't. They've made up a nomination and sent it to you based on your activity on social media, or you may have won other awards. And I've had to take my awards winners list off my website now because these award companies are going onto my site and getting all the data and sending people emails telling them that they've won an award or that they've been nominated. I mean, one of the ladies last week emailed me because she'd been told she'd won an award, um, cribbed like they've definitely taken stuff off her website, cribbed together this nomination, and then told her it was £900 to accept it, and that she would be sent a glass trophy and a winner's logo once she paid the £900. I mean, yeah, I cringe at all this stuff. Absolutely
Right.
cringe.
That
So
is
do your due
wild.
diligence.
Yeah, it's the same with all those. Oh, be featured on this Forbes list, sure. Okay, let's talk about your dreams for your business then within the next year. What's coming? What's coming for you? Because you've done so much.
Well,
What's coming?
I'm at the other end, Elaine. I'm 57, okay? So I am at the stage in my life. My kids have grown up and gone, and sadly, my parents have died. So we relocated to Somerset 2 years ago, and I scaled the business down quite considerably. I feel like I've accomplished a lot. I've got a podcast, I've written a book, done a lot of speaking, never done a TEDx talk. I might do that one day. But I feel like if I died tomorrow, I've set out and done what I've achieved to do. What I set out to do, I've achieved. So I'm quite proud of that. So it's a bit a difficult question, really, because I am focusing on wanting to travel more. So I do travel and work while I'm traveling. But we've also just taken care of John's 95-year-old stepdad. So he is now living with us. So we're kind of back on caring duties a little bit because he falls over a lot. Not because he drinks, by the way, he's just a bit unsteady. But he's very entertaining. And the fact that he managed to live in his own home until, 6 months ago, I think is quite amazing, really. And he's living with us and probably will live with us until he steps off to meet his maker. But so that's kind of tethered our travel at the moment. So we're traveling with Henry. We took Henry to Fuerteventura in January, and we're going back to the Canaries in April. We're going to Lanzarote, and we're taking him with us. And it's quite entertaining taking someone who's 95 with you. Well, he's actually 96 in April. So in terms of the business, I've just sold part of one of my businesses. I've sold the Three Counties Expo at the back end of last year. So business expos have gone. And I've got the awards, the marketing, and the networking company now. So I've got the three strands. So I think the big change to the Best Business Women Awards this year is we've taken it out of London. Bit scary, but that was a cost exercise because I hadn't put the prices up on the tickets for 5 years. And you can imagine the costs have gone up and gone up and gone up. And I don't want to put my ticket price up. I really don't. And made the decision to take it out of London. It's going to be in Daventry this year, which everyone's going, oh, well, it's Daventry. Never heard of it. And it's in Northamptonshire, but it's just off junction 19 of the M1. It's fairly close to sort of Birmingham Airport. There is a train station, but it's easy accessible for on the motorway. So I'm taking a punt, Elaine, doing this.
Good.
Hopefully, it won't put people off entering and ultimately coming to the final. But it was a big decision to do it, just to keep the costs down. And it makes the overall cost for people cheaper because the hotel bedrooms are so expensive in London. I mean, nearly 300 quid for a
Yeah.
bedroom. I mean, really? And these are just bog standard. So Daventry reduces the cost to like 100 quid, which makes it much more affordable for people to come and have a really good night out. So that's a big decision. And the marketing side of it, we really aren't taking on any new clients as such at the moment. We've got a nice, good retained client base. And I'm happy to keep it at that. And then the Business Women Unlimited. Oh, I love that. But I don't run a group anymore. So I would like to expand it. We did have 15 groups at one point. We only have 7 now, as the pandemic put a bit of a bomb through it. And I've not really focused on rebuilding and getting more groups open. So again, don't charge people a franchise fee for that. People can't quite believe it. I hand them a business in a box to go and run it. and then we do like a profit split on it. And it's not a huge amount of money, it's a small amount. But what it does is it's helping female entrepreneurs in your local area and gathering people together. And we built a really nice community with it. So, I would like to have some new group leaders in different parts of the country delivering Business Women Unlimited. And we, pride ourselves on the quality of what we deliver. And the group leaders are just incredible. I've got an incredible team of group leaders, and they're all trained by me. And so it'd be nice to get a few of those. So I guess that's a bit of a dream, actually, is to bring that back up, if anything. I'd like to get back up to the numbers of groups that we had before the pandemic, which was 5 years ago now. So we can't keep blaming the pandemic for things. But it hasn't been a focus, and I've just let it carry on running in the background. I've interviewed 2 potential new group leaders in the last 2 weeks. So one up north a little bit, and another one in a different part of Kent, the group that we've already got in Kent. So yeah, that would be nice if anyone's listening and they want to run a group, get in
Yeah,
touch.
exciting. And I must admit that love the online version. So
Yeah,
yeah,
you come to the online group,
I
don't you?
love the online. I love the
Yeah.
online. Okay, tell me that honestly, it's just been such, I wish we could actually talk all day, but we can't. Um, but tell people how can they work with you so that, enter the awards for the love
Yes,
of
so
God.
Best
But
Business
how
Women
else?
Awards. Yeah, Best Business Women Awards. We'll put the details in there. I do mentoring as well. So if people want we don't write entries for the Best Business Women Awards. I'm just putting that out there because that would be very unethical. But we do write award entries for other awards. But I do give people advice, and I'm happy to go through and give people a bit of a steer. If they want proper awards mentoring, it's like an hourly rate, and we would go through that. But if it's just a chat, happy to have a little chat and give people a bit of a steer. And we've got a lot of resources, and I've got an online awards masterclass as well, and I'll do a discount for your listeners, and I'll send you a code for that. So yeah, that's mainly the best place to connect up with me is on LinkedIn. I
Fancy
love
that?
LinkedIn. Yeah, fancy that. I'm a big avid LinkedIn fan. And I have been persuaded by my team to get my own Instagram account. Oh my God, which I'd always shied away from, but because people kept tagging Debbie Gilbert in posts, which it didn't exist, and actually someone else has got Debbie Gilbert. So I've got an Instagram, Debbie Jane Gilbert, and I've got that now,
Yay.
and I've made it open. I mean, I'm not posting, I'm just posting life stuff on it, really. But we've got the Best Business Women Awards Instagram, and Business Women Unlimited's got his own Instagram. But I'd always shied away from having my own Instagram. But I have got it now, and I've got a couple of hundred followers. It's fine.
Yay.
And
Well,
we've
you'll
got
have another
TikTok.
one.
We've got
Yeah.
TikTok for the awards as well. So we could do with a bit more. We need to work on our TikTok a bit better. It's not great. There's just something else to do, isn't it? It's
I
like, oh,
know. And you're trying to scale back and you're
I
just giving
know,
yourself extra
I
tasks.
know, I know. Anyway, that's
Oh,
it.
well, look, honestly, it's been great. Well, I am going to tag you in with this interview when I share it on Instagram. So thank you so much for sharing everything with me today. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the Business Spotlight. So thank you so much for chatting to me.